Hi guys, and welcome to Escape with Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the Baltany model S6048 monopusher. I received this watch for free. I don't have to send the watch back, but you guys know the deal by now. It's not going to sway my review one way or another, and if by the end of this review you find yourself wanting to pick one of these up, I will be leaving a link down in the video description. That is an affiliate link. You guys don't pay any extra. I just get a little bit of a kickback. That helps keep the channel running. So again, huge thank you goes out to anyone who's ever used one of my links. The retail price for this watch is around $338 US. That's before any taxes, sales, coupons, duties, etc. Baltany does usually participate in the sales, so if you're patient, you can expect to get some savings on this watch. And I have a hinkling that the price for this, the retail price for this, is going to drop pretty quickly. And yeah, we'll get to that in just a little bit. So this watch comes in two different colorways. They have the white dial and the black dial, or dark gray as they call it. The white dial, as you can see here, is a mother of pearl. The black dial is just a straight black dial. I think it might have a little bit of sunburst, but I can't really tell from the pictures. So yeah, just study those pictures if you're going to buy the black one. The watch case is made of hardened 316L stainless steel. It has a sapphire crystal, a push-pull crown, screw-down case back, 50 meters of claimed water resistance, and the watch is powered by the Miyota 9122 automatic movement. So I think monopusher cased watches are pretty interesting. So when Baltany announced this and then released it, I got pretty excited. I love Baltany as a brand, and I like the design until I looked a little bit closer and saw one big issue with the watch. So what's the problem? Let's dig in and find out. But before we do a quick wrist check. Wearing the new Cadison diver that I just reviewed a little bit ago. Review will be up here. I've really been enjoying this one. All right, so let's get into the dimensions. We got a diameter of 41 millimeters, case thickness of 14.1 millimeters, got 20 millimeter lug width, got a lug tip to lug tip of 49.8 millimeters, and on the supplied leather strap, weighs about 86 grams. So I think one of the issues that people are going to have with this thing, and it's not the biggest issue, is that it's big. It's a bigger watch, and it's a dressy watch. It's 41 diameter, 14 millimeters thick, and nearly 50 millimeters lug to lug. So yeah, it is not a small watch. It's not a small, dainty dress watch, which is what I think a lot of us like. Baltany, they do have some of those in their collection. This is not one of them. So if you're looking for a dress watch that is a little bit bigger and has some wrist presence, this is going to be a pretty good one. I think it's very comfortable, and I think it looks fantastic. But yeah, just a little bit big for my personal taste. But yeah, I'm going to go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. And here we are on my 7.5-inch wrist, and as you can see, I can pull this off. The overall length is pretty large, and the thickness is definitely there. You notice it. It's a watch that has some heft to it, has some wrist presence, which is unusual for what I would consider a very dressy watch. So yeah, some people will like that, some people won't like that. It just depends on what side of the fence you're on. But for me, I think it wears fine. It's comfortable. That crown doesn't really dig into the wrist or anything like that and cause any discomfort. The case itself is very comfortable, and I do think it looks really good under this tree. You can see plenty of air coating as well. Usually it's an issue here, but really not a problem under this tree. And getting out into some direct sunlight, you can see, hopefully you can see the kind of texture and colors of that mother of pearl dial. It is absolutely stunning. You can see direct sunlight, not an issue. I was expecting the legibility on this to not be great, but honestly it's not been a problem for me. So yeah, I'm not sure what trickery they've done here, but yeah, the numerals, the hands, they actually contrast pretty nicely with the dial. Maybe it's just because it's a mother of pearl. So but yeah, it does look really good. Again, all polished, and it just sparkles and shines. And yeah, I think overall though, it's a pretty nice wearing watch. A little bit thick for a dress watch for me, but some people are going to like that. Yeah, the strap on it is okay. I think we can do better. Let's go throw it on some and we'll get back to this review. And here we are on a Vario vintage leather strap. I think that does look pretty good. Pretty similar in color to the original, just I guess a little less dressy. But I do think that looks really good, and still one of my favorite straps. And here we are on a vintage leather strap again. This is just one off of AliExpress. The next two are going to be also off AliExpress on the same link. I'll leave it down below. But it just gives you an idea what this will look like on a black leather strap. We've got a blue one up next. And here we are on a dark blue vintage leather, same one as before. And I think that looks pretty good. It kind of pops on those the blue hands there. I think it looks pretty good. What do you guys think of that? And lastly, here we are on a Milanese mesh. I think that actually looks pretty good. This one's lifted off of a Pagani, so no link for it, but I do think that actually looks pretty good, which is not really a surprise. A dressy watch, all polished. It's going to look good on a watch or a strap like this. So there you go. That's the last one I got for you guys. Let's go back inside and let's get back to this review. All right, so let's talk about the case finishing on this thing. And case finishing, really simple. It is a fully polished case. It is a 316L stainless steel, but then it has been hardened. So they list what the hardness is on their site. It is 3 times harder and 3 times more scratch resistant than normal stainless steel. So the polishing on it is fantastic, and it's going to look fantastic for a really long time. As you can see here, you got nice big surfaces to show off the polishing. I mean, it is just mirror-like. You can see me talking here. Hi, guys. But yeah, really just fantastic polishing. You can just see how smooth it is. There's no real flaws that I can see in it. Baltany usually does a pretty good job with their case finishing, and this is no exception. Really, really happy with it. Just, I mean, everything is polished. So it is a fingerprint magnet, but it looks exceptional. They did a really good job on it. And like I said, it's going to be really scratch resistant. So it's going to look like this for a very long time. Flipping it to the crown side here, you can see this is where your mono pusher is. Nice big crown, sticks out a little bit, but that is your mono pusher. So you push this in and it'll change that 3 o'clock subdial there. So you got to push it pretty hard, but it does work pretty good. No real issues with it. The crown itself, really pretty. Nicely done, nicely finished again. Nice and big and grippy, and no issues with that. Flipping it to the case back here, you have a simple screw down case back with a fully polished face here, and then you have a sapphire crystal right there. Really nice to see sapphire sandwich on this thing, but showing off the Miyota 9122. It's a pretty decent looking movement. It's got some decoration on it. It's your typical Miyota 9000 series. But yeah, I think it looks all right. Simple notches to get a tool in there. You get your Baltany branding and a couple other specs around the outside here. Nothing offensive, nothing super fancy, but it does look good and it's very comfortable. It's nice and smooth, and yeah, no issues with it whatsoever. All right, so let's talk about the crystal on this thing. First things first, we'll test it for sapphire. See, it is sapphire crystal, so that's nice to see. We do have sapphire on the front and on the back. I did test the one on the back. Yeah, really nice sapphire crystal. It is double domed, as you can see here. Very slight double dome, but it is double dome. Nice and clear, plenty of air coating. It's just a clear air coating. There's no blue hue to it or anything like that. It's an excellent crystal, as I expected from Baltany. They still, to this day, have some of the best crystals I've seen, and that includes all brands, not just off of AliExpress. That's everything. So really impressive air coating on this thing. All right, so let's talk about the dial on this. So the dial is the star of the show on this watch, and it's also the one big flaw on this watch. So I'm going to get right to the flaw. This is a day, date, month indicator watch. There is a date wheel behind this dial here, but there's no date opening. So we have the month, we have the day of the week, but we don't have the day of the month. A huge oversight in my opinion. It needs to be down here at 6 o'clock. Just ditch that 6 there and put a date window there, and this would be a great watch. That is a huge flaw on a watch like this. If you're getting a triple date watch, you want all functions to be useful. Baltany has recognized this. They said they're not going to remake the dials. They didn't say anything about fixing this, but they said that they're going to learn from their mistakes. So, you know, they recognize that it was a mistake to not include the date. Probably the most important of the 3 complications, and they just omitted it. So yeah, a little bit of a letdown there, and that's kind of, that's a deal breaker for a lot of people. So yeah, that's kind of a disappointment, because this dial is fantastic. You can see here, white mop dial. It's a very white dial, I'll say that. It does just kind of change colors when you get it in direct sunlight, like, or a bright light situation like this. The dial is fantastic. There's a little bit of a texture to it. It looks great though. You got your simple Baltany branding there at the 12 o'clock, and then this automatic script at the 6 o'clock. Some simple subdials. The printing is nice and crisp. The applied indices are done just amazing. Really, really happy with those. They look good. They sparkle really nice. They catch the light nice. I mean, they are just very high quality. And yeah, it's just a shame about the lack of a date window on this thing. The handset that they used is fantastic. A leaf style handset, perfectly sized. I mean, just reaching right out to the minute track there. The second hand there, it's got a nice counterbalance. These are blued hands. They're heated blue or chemically treated blue. They look fantastic even under macro. So yeah, really, really happy with the handset. Really, really happy with the dial in general. If they would just replace that 6 with a date window, this thing would be amazing. Really, really amazing. But I really do think that is a deal breaker for a lot of people. All right, so let's talk about the movement in this thing. So the movement is the Miyota 9122. It's a high beat automatic movement with day, and month indications. Obviously, we talked about the missing date window. The mono pusher, there's a little lever in here. I believe there's normally a button here at the 2 o'clock position. So when you push this in, it presses a little lever and pushes that button. So that's how that works. Pretty interesting. The movement hand winds in this first position here. Pull it out to the second position. This is where you change your day of the week. And then rolling it forward changes your date, which is behind the dial, and I can feel it. Pulling it out to the third position here. Oops. That hacks the movement, and this is where you set your time. Everything functions as it should. It's super smooth. Yeah, I've got no issues with it at all. I think it's a great movement. It is a little bit thicker than a normal 9122. I don't think it warrants the 14 millimeter thickness on the case, but that's just me. But yeah, really happy with the movement. Like I said, it's a high beat, so 28,800 beats per hour, roughly 40 hours of power reserve and hacks and hand winds. And it's going to do everything you need it to do, except show you the date, apparently. But yeah, it's a nice movement. The only issue that I really have with these things is that they are a unidirectional winding rotor. So see if I can get it to, there you go. So it will do that from time to time on wrist. You can hear it, you can feel it. So just something to be aware of. It's not a huge deal to me. I would definitely prefer a bidirectional winding rotor, but that's just me. This one has been great for me though. I'm very happy with it. I don't know the exact accuracy. I'm going to pop that up here. But over a week or so on the wrist and on the winder, it's been pretty accurate within the minute throughout the week. So overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the accuracy on this thing, and overall pretty satisfied with the movement. It's a great one. All right, so let's talk about the strap on this thing. So the strap, it's a leather strap. It looks pretty decent. It's 20 millimeters. It tapers down to 18 millimeters. I'm kind of in the middle here for my 7.5-inch wrist, so it's a pretty good length. I don't feel like it's too short or too long. Really nice, clean stitching. It's got some padding to it as well, so it is a little bit stiff out of the box, but once it's on wrist, it conforms nicely, and it's been comfortable for me. So I've got no major complaints with it. You got one floating keeper, one stationary keeper. You do have a fully polished signed buckle there. I'm not sure if this is hardened or not, but I'm guessing it's not, but I really don't know. But it's nicely done. It's nothing fancy, but you know, it's not flopping around either. So pretty happy with that. No quick release, which again, I'm going to knock Baltany. They need to start putting quick release on it. The strap itself, it's fine. It's nothing special. I think it's something that you could keep around in the collection and swap from watch to watch. I think a watch at this price point deserves a little bit better of a strap. So the strap isn't bad. It's not great either. It's kind of middle of the road, and something I would expect on like a $150 watch, but not a $330 watch. All right, so there you go, guys. That is the Baltany Model S6048, a beautiful dress watch. If you're looking for a dress watch that just has some substance to the size of it, this is not a bad option. But if you're wanting to get full functionality out of the movement, which I think a lot of us are, the date window completely ruins it for me. For me personally, the size is a little bit of an issue. It actually wears okay for me. But yeah, I think it's going to be big for a lot of people. The thickness, I think, could be cut down by a couple millimeters. Just because I know the Miyota 9000 is a very slim movement, so they could have made this 12 millimeters in my opinion. I think it would have made it look a little bit better, but again, if you want something that's bigger and has some substance to it, has some weight to it, but still a very dressy watch, this is not a bad option for you. I think it looks absolutely beautiful, really, really beautiful, but yeah, that date complication kind of ruins it for me. So I think that's it for me, guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.